Hi, welcome to the Rosh Chodesh series on my Dream Detour podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Eti Antian in honor of her birthday for this month of Kislev. Her birthday is Ches Kislev. Eti, I just want to wish you the happiest birthday and that all of the blessings and your dreams shall all come true. And thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. It means so much to me. Fun fact, I'm actually wearing these earrings that Eti gifted me the last time we were together. So if you'd like to see how gorgeous they are, you'll have to go to the YouTube channel to check them out. Eti, everyone is wishing you the happiest birthday and year full of mazel and blessings and all good things. Hi, Chana. Welcome to the podcast, our Rosh Chodesh podcast on the month of Kislev. I'm really excited about this. I know we talked about, I love Cheshvan, and we're just coming from Cheshvan. We're in our last day of Cheshvan, last couple days. And I was talking to somebody about it. And I thought what was really cool that I experienced this month was the flow through the month. You know, we talk in the beginning of the month, the new moon, when the moon is small, and then we talk about all the things in the month and all the energies. I notice that what you speak about, a lot of it comes up for me. I'm like, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that, I'm feeling that. And this month, I feel, as everybody knows, because I shared and cried plenty in last month, that I was really in the midst of the floods when we spoke. And then I experienced the going through the month. And when I looked back, I was talking to someone about this month of Kislev because we wanted to do something in it. I was like, oh, I went into my sanctuary. I went into my refuge. I found it. The floods passed. I was able to stay present and go deeper in. And all these themes that we talked about, I went through this process of it. And then I remember that Kislev is about going into the light and external, right? You're coming out from being inward and going external. And we have Hanukkah. And I was like, ooh, I feel like I'm going into the light a little bit. This week has been a really hectic week. I put Tova in school about a week ago, which is a big transition for me. I'm starting the Artist's Way that we talked about. I have some beautiful women signed up. And it just feels, I took all this work that I went through and now I'm like coming out. Javi Brooke did a podcast with me where she kind of talks to me about my life and my story. And it also feels in a way of going outward. I'm always the one interviewing people on podcasts and I don't really get asked the questions. And by the way, it was really hard in our podcast. I was like, wait, I want to hear your story. She's like, no, this time I asked the questions. It's like,
Your
fine,
turn.
Javi. This kind of movement into outward and shining light a little bit more. And I'm just really excited to talk to you about all the themes of this month.
Yeah. So Kislev is a really beautiful landing
Mm,
after the fall of the month of Heshvan. But we're still in the winter and it's still
yeah.
dark outside. And we still need to kind of cozy up. It still does have an inward energy, but it also has like this kind of transcendent look beyond what
Mm,
is right here and see the greater vision, have a much more expansive vision in Kislev than we might be feeling in Cheshvan. So Kislev, the name Kislev itself, the word kesel relates to security and trust. And there's a very deep sense of trust that we come into in the month of Kislev. It's very much a very repetitive theme, the idea of trust.
mm,
And we'll unpack various elements of that and how do they kind of play out. So for starters, let's say the letter of the month. So the letter of the month of Kislev, according to Sefer Yetzirah, is the letter Samach. And Samach, is actually a circle, just a, just a round shape. And when you think of the word trust and circle, it's a circle of
mm,
trust, right? There is something holding. There's a containment there. And what's really fascinating is that the letter Nun, which was the letter of the month of Cheshvan, of the previous month, is the falling down, and we land in the letter Samach
mm.
of the month of Kislev, right? This free fall is not nowhere. It's into the trust, into the arms of Hashem. into this real sense of I am being held. And there's no such thing as being lost forever. There's no such thing as a free fall. There's no such thing as despair or hopelessness. We always land into the arms of Hashem. And so the letter Samach in this progression is very much the container into which we can land after coming from like the intensity and the chaos
Mm.
the movement and the falling and the flooding of the last month. And the letter Samach, even the word for Samach is Somech, which is support. And you know that we say in davening every day, 3 times a day, Somech Noflim, right? We thank Hashem for supporting those who have fallen. Like we said last month, the letter Nun is a letter for Nefila, for falling down. Somech, Noflim, the Samach is
Mm.
supporting Noflim, those that have fallen. So whatever we're coming in with, whatever we've been carrying with us, whatever tempestuous and chaotic and volatile intensity we feel like we've been carrying with us, we are able to land in this month of Kislev into a sense of very, very deep trust. And it's the kind of trust that exists in the depth of darkness, right? The month of Kislev is the darkest month, probably, of the year. We get to the darkest point of the year. We get to the winter solstice in the month of Kislev. And so it's a place where we are able to surrender in the recognition that moving in darkness, even into deeper darkness, does not mean that it is going to be worse, that all is lost, that there's a sense of despair. In fact, it is the opposite, because in the darkness of Kislev, this is where we're able to extract the deepest light, which we'll get into when we talk about the Hanukkah, and which is the holiday of the month of Kislev, and really defines its energy. So this very deep sense of trust, of holding, of containment, like a circle, like being wrapped up in the arms of Hashem, which is just this very kind of deep sense of like a very deep exhale after holding our breath for a long time
Yeah.
in the last month.
You know,
And yeah,
sorry. It's interesting, the circle, like everyone who does Rosh Chodesh gatherings, we call it Rosh Chodesh circle. And there's a lot of other moon circles and sound circles and breathwork circles. And like it's become the term for a healing group of being in this circle of space. And it makes sense where it's like the samach and it's trust and it's being held. And I love the way you explained it with the visual of wrapping your arms around you, like Hashem's giving you this big hug. And if you think about Hashem wrapping his arms, her arms around you, or someone that you love wrapping, it forms this circle. And it's so interesting because we laugh about it a little bit. Oh, are we doing another circle? Are we gathering
right.
another circle? Like my husband's always, what about a square? Can we use a square? Can we make a square? And I'm like, no, it's got to be a circle. And I never put it all together. And this is really beautiful.
It's a deep sense of containment, of being held.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is the body part of the month of Kislev is the belly, which is a non-specific organ, but also very deeply corresponds to the womb, which is the ultimate circle of holding. So we're going back to that theme a little bit.
You know how much I
Um,
love the womb. I'm
yeah,
glad
but
it's
it
showing
really
up.
relates to us. Exactly, exactly. It's like that sense of being held
Yeah.
and really contained, really supported, really like the ultimate holding. There's no room for anything to slither in unnoticed. Like this is it. I am just in this holding, in this containment, in this circle. And the mazel of the month is the Keshes, which corresponds to Sagittarius. And Keshes is the bow of the archer, right? So Keshes means bow, and it doesn't just mean the bow of an archer, it also means bow as in rainbow,
Mm.
which is another link to the last month where the rainbow was the promise after the floodwaters receded, after all of the chaos died down, was the promise that Hashem gave us that there will never be another flood. I'm holding you. You're going to be okay. You will never be destroyed. And there's a very deep sense of security in that promise. So you have the rainbow, which is also an expression of light being diffused. It's like the purity of light being diffused into all its colors, and suddenly you see like a rainbow of color coming out of a single ray of light, what could have been a single ray of light, what once was a single ray of light. And it adds color and magic and dimension to the simplicity of how beautiful light can be. So it has this kind of sense of wonder and magic and delight where you appreciate every aspect, right? Every color on the rainbow in this keshes, in this promise that your future is guaranteed and you're going to be okay and you will never be destroyed
Mm.
after this kind of overwhelm of the last month. And then the other keshes, which is the bow of the archer, interestingly, actually has the same shape as the keshes of the rainbow, right? They're both
Right.
semicircular. So they're both half circles. And if you put the two half circles together, you have a
Mm.
samach again, right? And if you look at the archer itself, you look at the bow of the archer, it's this incredible portal through which you can pull back an arrow, right? The archer pulls back their arrow and they release it through the bow, like it guided by the bow and goes completely beyond anything that the archer is capable of reaching with their own hand, with their own body, with their own, even with their own movement in the immediate moment. There's something extremely transcendent about the motion of a bow and arrow and what the bow enables. And this really captures a very powerful dimension of the month of Kislev. There's this motion of digging really deep
Mm.
and releasing out into the great beyond, into incredible hope, into possibility, into dreams, into an unseeable future that we know somewhere very deep inside is going to manifest, even though we have no kind of grasp on it at all in reality right now. And so there's this kind of beautiful hope
Mm.
that mirrors the expression of the rainbow as well. Like it's a promise. It's not something maybe that I'm experiencing right now in my life, but there's like this wonderful opening that happens as we land into the trust of Kislev of possibility, of promise, of beyond, of there's so much more out there, which leads us straight into the next aspect of Kislev that I love, which is the sense of Kislev. The soul sense of Kislev is sleep, right? So every kind of human ability, more than just the five senses, like in other months, the sense was eating or walking or intimate relationships or I'm forgetting them now, hearing or seeing,
Dancing.
whatever. All of the senses, touching, dancing. Sleep is another sense. And sleep is
Right.
a really important aspect of human life,
Mm.
right? You cannot sustain life without sleep.
Right.
And what is sleep? It's this deeply restorative process, right? It's a time where we're able to disconnect a little bit from what's going on to press pause in our day to recollect ourselves, where our body is able to repair, is to be able to rest and digest. And there's a lot happening, there's a lot of processing happening. But in order to be able to sleep, we need to trust that we're safe, that we're okay. We don't go to sleep in public places. We lock our doors at night before we go to sleep. We have this sense that we need to be in an environment that we can completely let go in order to allow ourselves to fall asleep. And it carries forth this theme of trust
Mm.
and total surrender and allowing yourselves to be held. And something that comes alongside sleep always is the ability to dream,
Mm.
right? Dreams come together with sleep. And it speaks to this beyond, this dimension of beyond, of transcendent. Even the word dream speaks to something true about being a human being and living in this world. We have dreams. right? Not just dreams while we sleep, but dreams about what's possible, dreams about our future, dreams about what we hope this world could be, dreams about the promises that we've been given from our past that we carry into our future,
It,
that carries us forward into our future.
yeah, it is making me think of that with the bow and arrow. The dreams are also something forward, right?
Exactly, exactly.
You're pulling the bow. First of all, I love that idea of the bow and arrow and like bringing the bow into ourselves and then letting go and hoping and dreaming
Right,
that
right,
it will go where it's supposed to, and also understanding that the arrow can go much further than we can physically on the physical level. And
right.
it's the same idea. Like we have to pull back and then this trusting, this
Yeah,
full trusting of that. Not only are we going to let it go, but that it's going to go in the direction it's supposed to go in. Because if
exactly.
it doesn't, then we're headed in the wrong direction. And that's really hard because then you
Right.
have to turn around and do it again. And sleep is interesting in this month because it also makes sense. It's a really dark month, right? We have the winter solstice, it's the darkest time of the year. And it's really hopeful sleeping. And I love how you explained it. Like the word dream is also the dreams. What are your dreams? What are your future? What is the hope for you? And I'm also totally obsessed with dreams. Carl Jung is the father of dreams. And when I was younger, I had a therapist who was
In
a,
modern psychology,
sorry, thank you. I knew I was saying it
we
wrong.
have we
I
have
knew
a
you would
rich
correct me.
tradition. We have a rich tradition.
Yes. But it's so interesting because I had a therapist when I was younger who was a Jungian, and he had me bring my dreams to some sessions, and we like
Oh,
would pull it apart and discuss it. And it really speaks to you. And a lot of it never really is what it seems.
no, no.
And that also reminds me of dreams. Like we have this idea of dreams of, oh, I want this and I think this. And when we trust, and like this is a lot around bitachon and what I'm working in with divine wealth, but like when we have trust and like when we let go of that arrow, then we trust that whatever the dream is that I want or I think I want, it's okay if it looks like something else. You have
Yeah,
There's a real sense of trusting in bitachon with
yeah,
sleep, with dreams, with bow and arrow, with
yeah,
letting go.
yeah, yeah. And in order to even shoot your arrow in the right direction,
Yeah,
you need to have a very steady hand.
yeah.
When you're full of anxiety, when you're not 100% sure, when there's any kind of
Mm,
like insecurity or lack of trust, you're not going to be able to even send it in the right general direction. And I love this idea that you don't know what it's going to look like. The dream it's a spirit, it's a concept, an ethereal vision. But what it might look like when it's manifest is something that we can't know. We can't know. And getting too rigid about how it has to
mhm.
look is what can really undermine our ability to get there.
Yeah.
But like pulling so deep inside, I feel like the motion of digging deep inside is like peeling away the layers of what I think I want to understand what it is that I'm really looking for. Right. So like the process of I want a house on a nice quiet street in a suburb. Why do I want a house? Why do I want to own it? What does owning a house mean to me? Why does it need to be in a particular setting? What
Mhm.
are the meanings that I've attached to this particular vision or whatever it is? Insert your own
Yeah.
dream here. And then peeling back the layers of what does this mean to me? What am I really looking for? Am I looking for this kind of safe sense of belonging? Am I looking for a sense of serenity? Am I looking for a sense of security like that? I think I'm going to own a house that's going to make me feel secure. Well, what about all the enormous costs of owning a house? And
Right.
there's a million layers that sometimes don't actually express what we're really looking for. And so being able to dig deep and look beyond what it's presenting as, that's what gives us that kind of
Mm.
clarity and that kind of that aim that we need to release that arrow, and then the trust that steadies our hand so that it can go like exactly where it's meant to go. And yeah, so there's this theme that it just keeps overlapping on every dimension that you look at. And we're looking out into the future. We're looking into something more than, something beyond the darkness, something that's out of my reach, but basing it all on this kind of very deep level of trust that I'm being held by Hashem. And this is my starting point. This is where I'm operating from. And this is where everything comes out. And speaking to like the practical aspect of dreams, like literal dreams, right? The dreams that we sleep at night, right?
Yeah.
Dreams are so interesting because they speak to a dimension of our consciousness that's not totally here. That's a little bit beyond this world, right? In Judaism, in Halacha, we talk about sleeping 1/60th of death. And what is death? Death is not an end. Death is a different place. Death is a soul returning to where it comes from. And so experiencing a little of an element of death is moving slightly back up to where we come from, being a little bit more connected to what's beyond us, to higher consciousness. And
Mm.
what can happen in dreams is that we can connect to our superconscious. And like you were
Right.
saying, like you get messages, you understand certain things. So there are actually many different kinds of dreams. Many dreams are pure nonsense and what people might describe as like like our consciousness sweating,
Mm.
like getting rid of a lot of this stuff. Like we get
Yeah.
exposed to a lot of things. We
There's
worry
that.
about different things during the day. We see things, we hear things, we experience things, and then like just to get it out of our system, or we might be dreaming things. So that won't particularly be meaningful in terms of what does it mean to me? Like nothing. It's just getting rid of the stuff that doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
But then when we look at dreams in the Torah, dreams are deeply meaningful. In fact, the month of Kislev, the Parshiot of the month of Kislev, so the Torah portions that we read in the month of Kislev, contain 9 out of the 10 dreams that are spoken about in the Torah.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes.
That's wild.
So
Okay.
it's a very powerful theme. Like the whole
Mm.
idea of what we discussed about Chitas, about living with the times, about learning the portion of the week and recognizing that there's a resonance there. This sense of sleep and dreams being very potent in this month is something that's spelled out very explicitly in the Torah portions that we read. And the dreams in the Torah are extremely meaningful. They're all messages straight from Hashem, telling us about what's going to happen, telling us about the future, giving people instructions, giving people information, and showing direction for dreams, for life dreams. So, for example, like when we think of dreams in the Torah, we think maybe of Yaakov's dream
Mm.
when he had the ladder and he saw the angels going up and down from the heavens to the earth and back. And that idea of the general vision of climbing the ladder and what it means to be a Jew and crossing in between these dimensions of reality and keeping them both real, anchoring our feet into the ground and letting our heads and our dreams and our consciousness
Yeah.
soar up into the heavens, right? There's Joseph's dreams. Joseph had dreams about who he was going to be, about his own destiny. That did very much pave the way for him getting to where he needed to get to become who he was meant to be. And then, of course, we have Joseph interpreting dreams,
Mm.
which is also a part of it, where Paro's the Pharaoh is the one who had the dream, and Joseph's the one who can interpret it and untangle what does it mean and what do we need to do about it. So the dreams in that way are messages
Yeah.
from beyond. It's information, it's coming through. And it's a very beautiful theme, even if I don't necessarily know what is meaningful in my dreams. It's being connected to the spirit of Kislev, to the spirit of dreams, and trusting that Hashem is going to give me all the information that I need,
Mm.
right? Like sinking deeply into this trust. Like I have dreams for my life. I'm digging in to really get clear about what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, and then trusting that Hashem will give me that information and just releasing my arrow, letting it go, and staying open and seeing what happens.
Yeah, it's talking about dreams and the stars and the moon. Like that was one of Yosef's dreams. I was reading something, I don't remember, it was on Jewish astrology or something. And it said, it was talking about how astrology is a Jewish theme. Like, and even in Parsha, the recent Parsha, Hashem shows Abram the stars. And he saw in the stars, right? He was an astrologer. He saw in the stars his life. And I think in the stars, he didn't really see that he was having children. And Hashem says, no, like you're going to have as many children as the stars. Like you can see beyond that, beyond the stars. And so it was talking about how astrology is here to give us information, like dreams. And yet we have the power, like Hashem gives us the power by having trust to go beyond what might or might not be the path for us. And it
Yes.
feels like this whole idea of trusting, like you said, that in Kislev Hashem, we trust that Hashem's going to give us the information that we need to step in the right direction. That's so powerful because I think so many people are just like, I don't know what to do and I don't know where to go. And now what? And do I talk to 18,000 people and ask them, what do I do and where do I go? Do I talk to three rabbis or Rebbitzins who have difference of opinion? Am I talking to a therapist? Am I talking to a breathwork practitioner? Who? And I think this is so powerful because I think the whole idea of getting quiet, and this makes sense now for me for Kislev, that it's still super dark. And in darkness, we tend to go inward still. And we tend to get, as you said, cozy, power down a
Yeah.
little bit. And in those spaces of going in and quiet, then we can hear like one of the most powerful things for me after doing the artist way and really getting into bitachon in a different way was that idea of trusting, of being like, Hashem, what's my next step? And trusting that
Yeah.
Hashem will find a way to give me that information. And that's through
Yeah.
synchronicities, and that's through listening to my body and really trusting and feeling it and learning how to do that. And I think that's so important because this idea of dreams and of hopefulness and over the rainbow, like it's all, we're all in the right themes of this month. And a lot of it is this not groundedness. It could be, right? It could be
And
out
yeah.
there. It could be the dreams that we're looking at has nothing to do with our reality. And yet that's part of hope is believing
Yeah.
that's still there for me and that I can
Yeah.
change my path and I can change my direction and like pulling that bow in with the stability, like being really stable and the trust. And I think that the stability is that trust in Hashem and knowing that
Right.
I love that we'll get the
Right.
information.
I want to take that a step even deeper because
Yeah.
there's something that really speaks to me about how Hanukkah fits in with all of this.
How Hannah?
Hanukkah,
Oh, Hanukkah. Hanukkah.
right?
It's
The
coming.
festival
Hope
of
you have
lights.
your gifts. I
It's
love
Hanukkah is like this very light-filled, beautiful,
yeah.
wondrous celebration. It feels very magical in the middle of winter, the lights and the festivity and the gelt and the donuts. It's so joyful and it has a lot of delight. And when you dig into the story, there's some real magic that's a lot more grounded than just chasing dreams and rainbows and being fantastical and
Mm.
just ungrounded, like you said. And that is like in the actual story of how it occurred, right? Like what happened? What happened? It was actually a really dark time. There was enormous pressure that the Jewish people were going through. They had to find a tremendous amount of courage to be who they were. They had to dig into their trust in Hashem in extraordinary ways. They had to fight an impossible war. They had to win over the most powerful army on earth. And what do we do to celebrate? We celebrate with the miracle of the oil. The most important part of Hanukkah is really about lighting the menorah. And the miracle of the oil doesn't focus really so much on the fight. It doesn't so much focus on the battle. It focuses on the inner process, like a very deep
Mm.
inner process that's mirrored by this beautiful story. What happened? The Holy Temple, the Beis Hamikdash, was desecrated, and the menorah had not been lit. and all of the oil that was required to be a very special type of oil that was sealed with a particular seal for purity had been destroyed, had been ravaged, and everything was busted open and unusable. And there was a commitment that the Maccabees made, that the Jews made when they had won this battle to what's the word, to rededicate the Holy Temple, to come back into the Beis Hamikdash and to start the service again and do everything properly, and not to compromise on anything. Like, we know who we are, we know how we do this, we know what the standards are. And regardless of what we've been through, we have not lost our way. And so, in order to be able to light the menorah, they need to find one tiny jar of pure oil so that it was kosher to light the menorah. And there were people who were saying, like, in such circumstances, when we've been so compromised, when everything was destroyed, it doesn't even matter what kind of oil we use. Let's just light it so that it's lit.
Mm.
And the Maccabees didn't give in to that. And the story goes that they searched and searched for one pure jar of oil, and they found only one. And that jar would only last for lighting the menorah for one day. And it would take them 8 days to find to
Refill.
squeeze fresh oil to restock the right kind of pure oil. And they didn't know what was going to happen. And they decided to use this one jar that they miraculously found that was untouched, lit the menorah, and just let go and saw what happened. And the miracle goes that the one jar lasted 8 days and nights, long enough to be replenished, for the oil to be replenished. And then they were able to continue lighting the menorah properly without any compromise. And there's something very deep in this story. And the Hasidic masters talk about this, how this search for one jar of pure oil was this commitment to the integrity of the Jewish soul, was a search for the secret oil, the secret center that exists within every single one of us, that is untouchable,
Mm.
that is impregnable, that cannot be compromised, that cannot be desecrated, that cannot be destroyed. And it's a hard thing to find.
Hmm.
It requires sometimes in life really digging very deep. And this is where I see the parallel with the depth of kind of pulling the
Mm.
bow, the archer pulling the bow. Like, you need to dig in to find that light, to be able to reach that magic that you're looking for. It's not a simple, easy process. It sometimes is very demanding. Sometimes we look at ourselves and I just see a lot of chaos inside, and I cannot recognize what my path is. I do not see what my purpose is. And I could just, like you were saying, could look outside of me, right? Look to a million places, because
Mm.
when I look inside initially, I don't see it. And I feel like Hanukkah gives us a beautiful guidance into ourselves, into our own depth. Can I find this place inside me that just knows, that just knows, where I am so connected with my truth? I'm so connected with my divinity. I'm so connected to something that nothing in my life can ever destroy, mess up, screw up.
Mm.
There's no way this point inside me can ever be compromised. And I dig in so deep. And Kislev is like the invitation and the enabler and the empowerment for this exploration, for this search, and for the victory of that search, for actually finding something, for coming up with that oil and getting to that place of recognition somewhere very deep inside me, where I don't need to ask anybody else for direction. I don't need to ask anybody else for permission. I don't need anyone else to tell me what kind of person I need to be or which way I need to go. I have found the point, the pure oil inside me, where I know that I am a child of God and Hashem is guiding me on this journey. And that's all I need to know. And I can light my menorah with that tiny bit of oil, and I will see miracles.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I love that there's this also victorious element to it because I
Yeah.
think that sometimes, and we talk about this, I talk about this with other women in different circles, lots of circles, and this comes up a lot. Is the meaning to just search? Is that the goal? I feel like I'm always searching. We talk about spiraling up and like, then we get to the next level and we're not there yet, whatever that means. And we're going deeper but there's also this like victorious sense to Hanukkah where it lasted and they were joyful. And as you described so beautifully, I think what's coming up is the getting there is the knowledge that you don't need anything outside of yourself to answer yourself. Is that
That's
all the
very, very important.
answers
Yeah.
are within you? And so what we're really searching for, I think, is the trust and the safety of the knowledge that we're headed in the right direction and we're doing the right thing. And it seems what the miracle of Hanukkah is teaching us is that we have to go deep, pull that bow back, go inside to find those answers. And then it doesn't matter. Then you don't really care about getting anywhere because you're like, oh, I'm on the right journey. I'm on the right path. That's what we really want. We want
Right.
to
I'm
just
on
know
track.
we're headed in the right direction. And that can be celebrated.
Yeah.
The knowledge that I'm getting my direction from my divine self.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually the Sphira, according to Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, the Sphira of the month of Kislev is Netzach, which is victory, endurance, and
Yeah, it
victory,
is.
right? So being able to stay the course, even in the darkness,
Mhm.
to be able to stay in trust, to be able to stay focused on our dreams and be able to get to that point inside us that we need to access in order
Yeah.
to enable all those miracles. And it's so gorgeous that we talked about the letters before. We talked about Samach being the letter of Kislev and Nun being the letter of, and the two together is like the support of the fallen, but also the two together spell out the word Ness, which is miracle.
Yes.
And that kind of ties back into the dream and the rainbow and the future and the possibility and the hope. This is how we reach those miracles. This is how we find the light in the darkness.
Yeah, the miracles, it feels like also we reach the miracles by wanting more. Like you said, the Maccabees, I think they probably could have gotten a heter, a
Right.
loophole at the time and been like, let's just use the regular oil to light the candles because blah, 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 blah. And that probably would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
Then they wouldn't have gotten to their miracle because they would
Right.
have had all this oil and they would have lit again and again. And then you don't get to the rainbow really. And this really gave us direction, the Maccabees, or like a lesson on what does it mean to stay the course, even if it's hard. Is it
And
it?
it's the commitment to their own integrity. It's the commitment to their own purity. It's
Yeah.
knowing that there is something there that cannot ever be cut. Always, if I dig deep enough, I will reach that point inside myself. That is my nefesh elokis. That is my godly soul. That is my way of knowing, like from deep inside, that I'm a part of Hashem and that I can trust this integrity that lives in me. I can trust that this is the deepest part of my identity. This is the deepest part of who I am. If we hold on to that truth, if we hold on to that belief, that is what is going to take us exactly into those miraculous places. We have to trust that. We have to trust that it's true in order for us to be able to get to find it. Because if we don't believe it, then we don't look for it. We don't make that effort. We don't do the next step, the impossible thing, the thing that people think are crazy and like, why are it's all connected to this deep trust and this deep knowing.
Mm, yeah. And the integrity of it, of staying the course and them knowing that like second best is just not good enough. And I don't mean that in a perfection or
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's that when we're looking for direction,
Yeah.
it's recognizing that there is no one that can speak my truth for me. People can support. And that I think is one of the most powerful things that we can do for each other. And that's probably why circles are so popular and so common. And that's why I love them, is because in a circle, no one person is the leader and bestowing their wisdom and their
Yeah.
guidance on the followers. It's not a linear structure. It's not a hierarchical structure. It's a space where each person stands in their own. We're all equidistant from the center, from each other. And from that point, I am on my journey and I'm the only one who can really know my truth. But I am held in the support of the circle. I walk with sisters beside me.
Mm.
I don't need to do it alone. I can be on my journey, and we all need each other. We're not created to be alone. We're not created to be individuals. We're not created to be hyper independent. We're so interdependent, and we all need each other always, family, community, society, in so many ways. But stepping into this circle space takes the hierarchy out of that community and out of that society structure, and it puts it back into a space where each person has their own individual value, each person has their own beauty, each person has their own light, and each person has their own knowing. And then the roles that we play for each other are not necessarily instructive or directional, they are supportive and honoring and reflective. Like, I can see your light in a way that maybe you cannot see it. And when I reflect it to you, you can see yourself
Yeah.
in a new way. But I haven't given you anything. I haven't created that light. I haven't been the one who like turned you into something. It has nothing to do with me. It's yours. It's your truth. And so it shifts this dynamic into a very messianic reality where it says every person when Mashiach comes is going to sit under their own fig tree and know their own Torah and have their own connection with Hashem, where no one is going to be teaching someone else because we've all found it within ourselves. And that's what we're moving toward. And the month of Kislev has such a gorgeous invitation to really find that within ourselves and allow ourselves to be held in the circle in that process, to be a circle for each other and to trust Hashem's holding in this very kind of digging deep, reaching deep inward, and arriving to somewhere completely beyond what we think is even possible, to Nissim, real miracles.
It feels so safe in that way. I think when people start to journey to their truth, it could be really scary, right? We talk about it, I can't remember which month, about the important, maybe it was Thomas, the importance of looking at what's right in front of us, at reality.
Right,
And
right,
when you don't look, you don't know how to change or you can't see it. And that process of looking, discovering, and looking inward and discovering our truth and discovering our connection with Hashem, it could also be really frightful in a way. Like, what have I been ignoring? And now what do I need to look at and take
right.
accountability for? And this idea of doing it in Kislev in this month, in the circle of this desire to really want to know myself in a way that understands that I'm so connected. I'm a piece of God, right? That I have the knowledge and the knowing inside of me, but also wanting to be held in community of I might need some reflection. I might need this person to tell me they can see my light that I might not be able to see, or to tell me stop being so hard on myself because that's not important. The discovery is not the action, whatever it is that someone's struggling with. And it's
Yeah,
just such a beautiful thing to have this space in this month of the Samach of really, I love the bow and the rainbow. I love how you did that. All this magic is also coming to hold us in space and really giving this opportunity for having the individual and having the group.
yeah.
and working forward together in that. Because as you said, in Mashiach times, in Messianic times, of everyone like having their own Torah with Hashem, sitting under our own fig tree, and also we'll be with each other. We're not going to just
Yeah.
be in the fig tree alone and not interacting. We're still interacting. But imagine if we all interacted on that level of like honesty.
Yes.
What would
Yes.
relationships look like?
And that when we look at each other, we see the other person's soul instead of
Yeah.
seeing all the other stuff.
Yeah. That feels like the goal to me.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah. And I think it really speaks to like other aspects of Hanukkah, like the fact that the Hashmonah and the Maccabees were fighting against Hellenism. What is Hellenism?
it's external?
It's this, yeah, it's the worship of the material, of the externalities. It's looking at a human being and completely missing the fact that they're created in the image of God, that they're a soul, that they're a spark of Hashem, and measuring their form and their competence and their abilities and their skills in very superficial ways. And Hellenism is not gone. We live in a world with a lot of very Hellenistic value systems that really, they really shape the way that we grow up, the way that we see ourselves, the way that we see each other, the way that we judge ourselves and one another, the way that we kind of position different people of who is valuable and how valuable are they and what are they worth and who is worth aspiring to and who do I want to be like and who's important and who is successful.
Yeah.
And being able to step into this work in the month of Kislev and recognizing that the other side of digging into the depth of my own soul and finding my own light, the klipa, the dark side, the thing that I'm pushing up against are all the Hellenistic attitudes that have absolutely seeped into every single aspect of our worlds. I don't think there's a single person who has
Yeah.
not been affected by these attitudes and these value systems in some way. And they really undermine us
Yeah.
because they undermine my ability to recognize that my value in this world is absolute. It is indisputable. The fact that Hashem created me as me means that I'm fundamentally special, important, valuable, indispensable, and like incredible. And there's nothing that I need to do to justify that. And when I live from that place, I'm able to be like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do with this beautiful life that I've been gifted with this wonderful value? Just do I start measuring who else thinks I'm important and how important do they think I am and who's paying attention and who's giving? It's not relevant because whatever is happening outside of me is just part of who I'm supposed to be here. And I don't need to ever make it mean anything. But I don't know so many people or any people who really live in that way because we've all been layer by layer infiltrated with these Hellenistic attitudes. And this work of Hanukkah, digging in really deep and finding the oil that lives inside me, is asking me to shed layer by layer. It's body image, it's fitness levels, it's beauty standards, it's success. What am I doing in the world? Is my output kind of
Hmm.
justify my existence or make me an important person or make me somebody that people admire or want to know or all of those things. Even like how good of a mother, sister, wife, boss,
Yeah.
worker, like even those things are measuring sticks that are giving us kind of some merit and some value that we use to define our worth.
Mm.
And of course, it's important to be doing our best in those roles.
Yeah.
But when how we do does not define our worth, it gives us so much more freedom to really go completely beyond what we can even imagine we're capable of.
Yeah.
Like when I know, for example, that the love that I give is not limited to the love that I feel right now in my heart, because on a bad day, maybe not so much, but I'm just a channel of Hashem, and Hashem created me in love. So technically, I have access to infinite love. And when I'm in that zone of just channeling the love that comes through me, I am able to give extraordinary amounts of love to the people in my life because none of it is limited
Mm.
by what I think I am or what other people think I am or what somebody told me or what society values me at. I'm just in flow. I have access to that oil. It flows like the Hanukkah oil, like it will last as long as it needs to last. You need a shine. Hashem can give you everything to shine for as long as you need to serve. You never need to worry about finishing, about being limited, about being restricted, because you tapped into that place where you don't define yourself by any kind of external measure anymore. And that's the gift and the magic that we can find inside ourselves through Hanukkah, through Kislev.
In this month. Ah,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful. And I love how all these months are like ongoing work for us, right? What you
Yeah.
just spoke on is something every single one of us can relate to. And it is an ongoing fight. It is an ongoing fight. And I feel like it's coming to light more about where is our value system standing as a society. Who are our role models? I just had this like feeling, thank God our hostages came home, and hopefully there are a couple bodies left that will be brought home soon. And when you listen to the videos of these hostages and what they share and what they talk about and how each and every single one of them found Hashem in like the realest way, because everything, like you said, was stripped away. There was nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. They reached the oil.
They reached
They
the
were,
so
yeah.
openly, so miraculous, so
Yeah.
clearly, and coming from our space of our lived lives. Sometimes you think like how they were abused and they were starved, and wouldn't you become angry, or wouldn't you be hating on God or yourself? And no, they reach the oil and they speak about it. And I encourage everyone to watch these videos because they're so beautiful. And I had this like feeling of gratitude because I did makeup for 20 years in Hollywood and fashion world. It was super fun and talk about being in the midst of Hellenistic environment in that sense. And it's so based off of the external. And now as my kids are growing up and we're a musical family, we're very into singers, and my kids are getting a little attached to some of the singers as role models. And I'm like, no, we're going in there. Let's watch the hostages again. Let's see the videos of what an amazing role model is. Where's about being inside and connection and all of that. And it's just real work. And it's just real work.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and this is what the beauty of Rosh Chodesh, and we talk about it, like moving through the year. I feel like it always gives us pause to work on something else, right? To work on something that needs to be worked on, that when you're busy in life, you might not have the time or the ability or even the thought to be like, oh, I should work on this. Or if you think of all the things you want to work on as an individual, as a person, it could be overwhelming. I can't start because I'm so broken and I'm so not in the right place and I still can't hear God's voice and I can't find my oil. I just can't do any of it. And Rosh Chodesh and the months really give us this space to be like, oh, we're in the month of Kislev. This is about trust. This is about finding yourself. This is about fighting what you believe is your value externally and really getting into the depth of who you are and trusting and listening. And I just love it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can tap into the energy. Like the energy of this is
Yes.
so potent. So from Rosh Chodesh Kislev, the energy of trust
Mm.
starts magnifying very powerfully the energy of being able to reach beyond ourselves, a certain transcendent light, reach things that might not feel possible, to be able to hope. All of these themes are radiating very powerfully
Yeah.
in the energy. And by listening in and just remembering and aligning our consciousness to what is the reality, we can draw strength from it. We can get energized by it, and it can help lead us on our own path.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder if it's a good, like practically, I love practical. I'm curious, and I think I'm going to try this to think about something that feels beyond us, right? What is a desire, a dream, because it's for the month, that
right.
feels just impossible? And really write that down and sit with it. Wait till Kislev starts, everybody. It starts Thursday night, Friday. You want to grab hold of the energy. And in Kislev, sit with that and write if these energies are so powerful and they're radiating and they're giving us force to really sit with things that, because a lot of times when you dream beyond reality, beyond your own reality, what is reality? We don't need to get into that. You get shut down by yourself for sure, but also by others. What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. How you're here, that's there. And I wonder, like, even to use it as something that's playful, of sitting, grab your tea or candle, whatever makes you cozy and warm in this cold month, in this dark month, and be like, if I could dream the impossible, write it down, speak it out loud in the present. I just saw this interview with Omer Shemtov's mother on Inside Out podcast. And she said, this was so powerful. She said, she knows that positive thinking creates a positive reality, right? Chocolate, it's not good. And so every day she would talk about Omer being home in the present. Thank you, Ash. I can make me cry.
Oh,
I thought I was gonna make it through this podcast without crying. She said, thank you, Hashem, that Omer is home. Thank you, Hashem, that we have this big, beautiful family. Thank you, Hashem, that we're all safe. She talked about him while he was with Hamas in the present reality of this is what's actually happening. So I just want to invite anyone out there who has a dream that doesn't feel like that, it literally feels like it would be magic for it to happen, to write it down and then say it out loud in the present tense as if it's your reality in this month of Kislev. And then let it go like the bow. Just be the next thing is Hashem, what's my next steps? And see where the synchronicity and the Bashert takes you.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
It is such, I'm definitely going to be
I'm going to be doing it. I'm
implementing
like,
this practice.
I take my own
I love
advice.
this.
Yeah.
I love it. It's such a gorgeous way to tap into that. And to, I think what's really powerful also is like, I'm speaking this dream out
Mm.
and I'm letting it go and I'm trusting Hashem to figure out the details. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to keep digging deep. So I'm doing my work. What is in my power to find my oil? That's in my power. What is going to happen out there in the world? I don't have direct power over that usually, but I can trust, dig deep, and let it go. And what's really also helpful to remember is that it's a winter month. In the winter is not when we see the fruit of our labor. In the winter is when we are sowing, when the ground is resting, when things are hibernating, when everything looks asleep. But there's so much happening beneath the surface. And it's us just surrendering into the trust that the process is unfolding and it will manifest. It might not be a summer month. We might not see the full glory of it yet, but who knows? We also might experience it like Hanukkah. We might see our oil last for way longer than it should. We might see light that we couldn't imagine finding, not only finding it, but shining out into the darkness and lighting up the dark. God.
That's so important to share. Thank you for
Mhm.
that. That's
Yeah.
important. Wow.
May we see miracles. May we
Amen. May
see
we see
miracles.
miracles. Hannah, thank you so much. This was so beautiful. I'm so excited for this month and to tap into all these beautiful and miraculous and trusting energies. I'm ready.
Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov.